French President Emmanuel Macron caused a truly significant political earthquake in his own country when he decided to hold snap parliamentary elections. This decision came as a real surprise, undoubtedly, to both the French political elite and ordinary French citizens. The fact that Marine Le Pen's party, the National Rally, would indeed win the European Parliament elections was hardly news to anyone who had been significantly following the trends in French political life in recent years and the political landscape in France. However, the fact that the president of the country would announce snap parliamentary elections after this victory is a surprise. Macron broke unwritten traditions of French political life. Several times in the past in the history of the Fifth Republic, there has been significant and notable interaction between presidents and various governments from different political forces, and each time this led to serious and significant crises in the overall functioning of the state. It was after this that the decision was indeed made to ultimately align the periods of the presidential and parliamentary elections in order to give the newly elected head of state the opportunity to work with a loyal government. And now indeed Macron is calling this entire very delicate and fragile structure into question. If the National Rally wins the parliamentary elections, and Marine Le Pen has already expressed her readiness to indeed take responsibility for power, a new long period of coexistence between the president and a government from different political forces in the country will begin. Why is Emmanuel Macron doing this? He indeed has two options for the further development of events. The first is indeed the victorious triumph of the National Rally and indeed coexistence with a far-right administration, actually. The second option is the mobilization of the president's own supporters and followers, as well as moderate left and right political parties, who will be able to form a new government after the snap parliamentary elections, in order to stabilize the situation in the upcoming months. And in this case, the president is not threatened by anything in any way. But in reality, he is not threatened at all, even if a government with the far right is indeed formed. Because in this case, the head of state will be able to place the responsibility for the social and economic situation in the country on ministers from another party. And thus, in order to successfully and effectively pave the way for his successor to power, this path is considered to be a less risky alternative option than maintaining the current existing composition of the parliament in a situation where a significant number of French citizens believe that its party affiliation does not meet the expectations and needs of the broader society in order to address the concerns of the public. However, indeed, the very model of coexistence between a president and a government from different political parties represents a significant challenge for Emmanuel Macron. It will indeed be very difficult for him to implement his own political decisions, certainly. For example, it's about supporting Ukraine. In this situation, Macron is trying to play the role of a true leader of Europe. It talks about the possibility of French troops potentially being present on Ukrainian territory, and also the deployment of instructors who will train Ukrainian soldiers. Recently, Marine Le Pen has also been talking about the need to help Ukraine. But she doesn't even want to hear about sending troops at all, and possibly not even about instructors. Absolutely. And in this case, it will not be so easy for the President of France to, in fact, put into action these initiatives, indeed. Many other issues related to toughening the position and stance towards Russia and other related matters, even though Marine Le Pen is trying to distance herself from her previous support for contacts with Vladimir Putin and her previous interactions, and pretends that it all didn't happen with her, will also be very difficult to implement. Therefore, the question is not only about the responsibility for various economic and social problems and implications in France that arise from these issues. The question at hand is whether Macron's coexistence with a National Rally government will turn the head of the French state into a lame duck several years before the end of his presidential term. About the potential impact of this coexistence on the political landscape of France. And it will undoubtedly provoke a very significant and potentially serious crisis for the French Republic itself. And we completely and thoroughly understand that this is absolutely not some kind of fantastical prediction, because indeed every single power-sharing arrangement we have seen in recent French history has led to exactly such a crisis and serious difficulties in exercising presidential powers for predecessors of Emmanuel Macron, such as François Mitterrand or Jacques Chirac. Therefore, the President of France would do well to be cautious before rejecting a course of events that would not foretell a political storm in France. But Emmanuel Macron decided to stir up this storm. Perhaps also because the willingness to generate crises remains an important part of his own political style. Indeed. But being able to generate crises does not mean easily getting out of them in any way, even after the decision has been made and the French president has no other choice left at all. However, the choice remains with the French people in the end. If they vote for the president's party, the Republicans, over the socialists in the upcoming snap parliamentary elections and do not prefer Marine Le Pen's national rally, then the overall situation will not be as dire as it could be in the event of a national rally victory. In this case, the choice will not be Emmanuel Macron's, but that of his voters and the overall political landscape. Thank you, friends. Stay on this channel, subscribe to it, help it grow and spread. Good luck.